Who has a 100-word summary of the trouble you guys got into 2 weeks ago? Because we did not play last week because I was fixing her car.
Raazu got kidnapped.
Yes, that did happen.
That's right.
Wait, I don't remember any of this.
Raazu got kidnapped and vanished to the Shadowfell. And the rest of you guys couldn't step to Raazu's getting into the Shadowfell game, so there was a little bit of faffing around with that. But eventually, everybody did get into the Shadowfell. Raazu has lost maximum hit points because of she apparently knows everything about Hobgoblin military history now. Apparently. And we started to explore the other side of this tower that, in the normal world, is incredibly perfectly silent. And on the Shadowfell side, everything is terrible and awful. And Wendy is consorting with demons or devils, one of the two. We're not really sure yet.
So as I recall, Adrex and Wendy were here taking a rest, and you guys, when we left, were down in the library putting all the books back.
Yes, that is what we were doing.
Sure, sounds right.
And towards the end of their restful period, Adrex peered out the door and saw a child staring at him, who then slammed the door shut, and he heard her running off.
See, I distinctly remember Adrex slamming the door shut.
The door got slammed. The door got slammed shut in any event. Is the important thing here.
Yeah.
This is true. This is all very true.
This is the remastered version where the child shot slammed first.
Damn it, George Lucas.
So what's next? At this point, you guys have completed the work in the library and finished setting it to rights.
Guess we head back upstairs and see what Adrex and Wendy are up to.
Okay.
And Raazu has fully brought everyone up to speed on what happened to her because, again, to go back to the recap, Birdie got Raazu out of combat because she was going to die by being hugged to death. And when she went to by going ethereal, apparently that allowed these guys to I guess keep the entities that live here were threatening everyone else, so Raazu had to give up more maximum hit points for that reason. And so Raazu has definitely brought everyone up to speed on that.
Okay.
Yeah. Go in here. Adrex, you look spooked.
I was sleeping and then Adrex slammed the door.
Sorry, did you open the door or you just...
Yeah, Raazu's going to open the door.
Oh, okay. Because Adrex is going to be like, no one's home!
Raazu does not knock.
No. Raazu just gives a self-satisfied nod right where I left you, and then says, yeah, Adrex, you look spooked. What happened?
Well, I was just sitting here reading the encyclopedia, as I do, as you're well familiar with, and there may have been a small, creepy little girl at the door. So I slammed the door shut.
Okay. So you don't know where she went? Although I think I might have an idea of where she went in any case.
Why do you want to find her? That sounds like a terrible idea.
Adrex, I have never heard you say that sentence in your life ever.
I mean, he does got you there, though.
To remind viewers, Adrex's flaw is that sounds like a great idea. Except for this one time.
Except for looking for spooky girls. Like, come on now.
Raazu sighs and then goes back over here to where she knows that the quick child skeleton was locked up on the other side.
Just a
And
quick
Adrex
shot.
slams the door shut again.
Raazu
As
knocks
you
on
go
the door.
to pull
Okay.
the door open, you feel some resistance, as though somebody's holding it on the other side. But it's not a lot of resistance. Like, imagine holding the other side of, like, a Chihuahua's tug rope.
Would you say it's similar to or exactly the same as the resistance that like, say, a small child might use to hold a door shut?
You don't know, you're not there.
I'm right here.
You're not holding
I
the
feel
door.
like with her armor, Raazu might not even notice a small chihuahua. Like, there could probably be a chihuahua. She might occasionally just notice there are chihuahuas clamped onto her armor she didn't even see before.
She doesn't even know where they come from. They just start becoming a nuisance after a
Yeah,
while.
but they're not heavy enough to really encumber her.
Yeah, it's not really worth the time.
Raazu actually measures her armor's weight in chihuahua weight.
So yeah, you have no
Yeah.
difficulty pulling the door open, but there is some resistance on the other side.
Raazu will start to pull when she feels the resistance. She'll stop and then she'll knock and say hello.
And then a small voice on the other side says, "Nobody's here."
Well, you heard the door.
You can't talk.
Right.
It's
I
true,
forgot
you
about
can't.
that. I forgot about that.
Luckily, I didn't forget about that.
Because Frickred is so happy about that. If nobody's home, then Raazu has no idea how to deal with. Raazu has no idea how to deal with children.
What you deal with Adrex all the time.
Adrex isn't a child.
He's like 7.
Adris
It's
is
a
a
big boy.
man-child. Totally different thing.
Yes.
Adrix has a body pillow.
That's rude. That's slanderous.
That is very.
I'm not
that
gonna
is
sit
very
here for this
slanderous.
character assassination. Instead, I'm gonna knock on the door.
You knock on the door?
Uh-huh. And I'm gonna say, have you been here a while? Or not here a while, as the case may be?
What tone of voice are you using when you say this?
I think I would say like a serious one. Wendy would treat a child seriously.
Okay. And for a moment, there's silence. And then you hear, on the other side, the small voice say, "But I'm not here." And then Raazu, you feel the resistance on the other side of the door vanish. And then you hear the sound of a cupboard closing. Somewhere inside the kitchen area. Oh, this is the storage room. The kitchen's down here where Adrex is hiding in the kitchen.
Yes.
With a big pot on his head.
Yes.
I'm gonna head back over to the kitchen. I'm gonna knock on the door.
So,
Adrex says,
Adrex,
"No one's
I have an
here."
ethical question.
Adrex says,
Adrex, is it more or less ethical to tell a dead child that they're dead, or to leave them in this hell world?
Adrex opens the door and stares at Wendy for a moment.
Yeah. Because this seems like a tough one to me.
I think you have to. You don't need to tell the child that they're dead.
Yeah, so
I don't know what good would that do.
Right. That's my thinking.
So we don't, yeah?
So I'm gonna open up the door and just
Okay.
say into the storeroom. We're heading upstairs to look for a way out of here. If you want to come find us later, you'll know where we are.
As Wendy turns to leave,
Yeah.
just as you're about to leave the door, you hear the small voice, muffled because it's inside of the cupboard, ask, "Are there 5 of you?"
Yep.
There's supposed to be 5 of you.
Well, there are. So, good on you.
She says, "I wasn't sure if you were the ones I was supposed to meet here."
Nope, creepy. Adrex slams the door shut again.
The kitchen door?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll say, what were you waiting for us for?
She says that her grandfather tasked her with going down into the mountain, into what he calls the dark places,
Okay.
to wait for 5 envoys that she was supposed to escort back to his hall.
Just a quick question. Did you wait in the cupboard for like a while? Like a long while?
She says that she doesn't know how long she's been waiting.
Okay.
And then after a beat, you hear the cupboard latch open up. Raazu, are you standing in the doorway?
Yeah, no, I'll move off to the... yeah, I'll move
My
inside.
question is, can you see in the room? I don't
Yeah.
really care where you're standing. Okay.
Yeah, I'll move into the room behind Wendy.
And this little girl peers out, and she doesn't look harmed or injured. She doesn't have any visible wounds or bruising. And she's wearing just this plain, simple dress with no adornments. Bare feet, no jewelry to speak of. Straight hair that goes down her back. She peers out. She says that she doesn't know how long she's been waiting here. Then she waits a beat. And she says, "I think I may have died."
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
You're
Don't
not
worry.
the first person to say that to
Raazu
us.
here's done that once. She turned out all right. Mostly.
You're not the first person that said that to us.
She asks if you know her grandfather.
What's his name?
I'm not to tell you that.
Then I'm not sure.
Then we can't answer that question.
She says that her grandfather is very fond of leaps of faith.
Well, we're
Yeah.
kind of experienced with that.
He told me that if the envoys didn't come back with me, that they were not worthy of the thing he would task them with. I don't know what he meant.
So, I'm not 100% sure I like your grandfather very much, if he sent you down here on your own.
And then she says, I thought you didn't know him.
Well, I know of him.
Reputation's a
about
powerful thing.
What's Red doing out here? Is Destil muted?
He might be.
Perhaps.
Nothing, just, letting the conversation take its course.
Okay.
Here. How about so your grandfather just wanted us to come with you? Take a leap of faith? We're on our way upwards anyway, so...
A diversion of convenience, I suppose.
She said that it's her fault that possibly she died because she was meant to pass through the old mines and wait at the old jail. An old place that is old and decrepit and very dark, but known to be safe. She said it was her fault for pressing onward. She thought that she could prove her bravery by going deeper. Do you think he'll be angry with me when we go back?
I think you've proven your bravery. I'm sure he'll be fine.
What does this little girl look like? Does she look human, elf, robot? What?
She's definitely not a robot. 100% assuredly not a robot.
Well, wait. We've seen some very human-like robots, so we can't be that sure.
You have not seen any robots. Warforged, I am told, are not robots.
Listen, you've been talking to Destil too much.
Modrons are also not robots. I mean, every time I see somebody reference a Modron as a robot, I kind of want to murder them a little bit. So I understand.
You're saying
what
you're a
they're saying.
cyborg.
What about that thing that fell down the shaft in the mountain?
That was a
Not a robot.
Warforged.
Oh, okay.
She tells you that her grandfather gave her 2 items to protect her on her journey, and that she was not to take them farther than the old jail. One of these she says is a gray stone that to her looked plain, but he assured her would protect her in times of great danger. The way she describes this, Birdie, you especially realize she's describing a spellstone. And the second was a golden sword from his own forge.
What use would a golden sword be? The metal's too soft to cut anything with it.
She describes the weapon, and the way she describes it to Raazu, she's not talking about a combat sword. This would be like a sporting sword, like a fencing sword.
Okay.
Looking at her, you can't really tell what race she is. Somewhere between human and elf. She has features of both. And there's... Make an Arcana check, Raazu, since you asked.
Let's see here. I don't think my Arcana is that great. I think it's just working straight off my intelligence.
Yeah, I doubt you
which-
trained.
yeah.
You're not trained in Arcana at all.
Yeah, I haven't taken Birdie's correspondence courses. Nope, that's only a 4.
Okay. Birdie, I'll let you make this check too, because you're also in the room looking at her.
And because you have a better score.
I wasn't going to put that fine a point on it, but yes.
That is. Let's see.
I'll
I
sharpen
have
that
that
point for you.
skill where reliable talent. So that's
Actually,
a-
make this at advantage because of a reason.
Okay.
Those reasons.
It's the same score because of reliable talent. That's 21.
21.
Yeah.
So
Birdie's watching this conversation between this girl and Wendy and Raazu. And you get the same sense that Raazu did. Like, you're not able to really pin what kind of creature she is. Somewhere between human and elf. She has the features of both. But Birdie's also never actually seen a human child, as far as I know. But then you recall something your sire was able to do. He never did it very often. He was very much a recluse. Still is, actually. He's still alive down there, for all you know. But you know that he had the ability to change his own form, to appear to be a humanoid when he was not. He only used this ability in order to inflict cruelty on other humanoids in the area, like for sport. He would do this with some of his lieutenants and henchmen. So this is something that you know that dragons can do. And this is the kind of magic that you're sensing on this girl as she's speaking to you.
Birdie's gonna like pantomime dragon.
What does this look like?
Yeah.
Like I got my arms in a kind of in front of me, and I'm making like a mouth teeth gesture.
Ah, it's a mimic.
Crocodile.
They just
Then
trying to
Birdie
tell us to steal third base?
Birdie will sigh and then reach into his pack and like pull out like one of his scratch pieces of parchment, and he'll take his little charcoal pen and he'll write the word dragon in big bold letters and underline it like 4 times, and then write stupid.
Birdie, I can't see what you're writing.
He's point. God. At this point, we're just missing someone who's actively deaf.
Adrex is selectively deaf.
This is true.
Adrex is hiding in fear.
Like, I also, like, I want to point out the absurdity of you, like, Ghost Werewolf, yes, let's punch it with silver pieces in our fist. Ghost Girl.
Well, you're not gonna punch a small child.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, what the hell's wrong with you, Birdie? So Raazu sees Birdie scribble on the parchment, thinks for a minute, looks at the girl, cocks her head to the side, shrugs, says, "So, how do we get to your grandfather?"
She tells you that you'd have to essentially finish your ascent up to the top of the plateau. There is an old, decaying maze that was used by, well, that her grandfather told her was used by evil dwarves in times long past to torture captives. Above that is an old abandoned mine from which they plundered many treasures from the mountain.
All right.
After
Makes
that,
sense.
it's a week or so journey overland to her grandfather's hall.
All right. Well, do you know how to get us out of where we are?
And she casts her eyes at the floor. She says that she was not supposed to have died.
Oh, yeah, that can be inconvenient.
Would your grandfather want your effects returned to him? The stone and the fencing sword.
She says that he would be quite cross if she lost them, but he would be more relieved to see her returned safely. She also does not know where these things are, nor does she have any memory of losing them.
I think the ship has sailed on her returning safely.
I think maybe it's here, but back on the other side.
Also, and this is Wendy saying this to the small child, I'm sorry, but we've seen a lot of things, and I do need to know. Do you know what you dying means? Is that something that we can help you with? Because it's possible you know how to fix that. I'm sorry, I realize that might sound insane.
She says that she doesn't remember it happening,
Yeah.
nor how long ago it may have been. But the creatures in this tower that she's hiding from, her grandfather has described to her as being creatures from the land of the dead.
Sure.
And she describes the creatures that some of them that you've fought since you've been here.
Right. Well, maybe your grandfather knows more.
Adrex opens the door a creak and whispers, "Raazu! Raazu!"
Raazu holds up her finger and says, "One moment," steps across to here.
And Adrex is gesturing
Yes,
for her to get into the room.
Yes, Adrex. Step inside.
Adrex closes the door.
Okay.
Aren't you freaked out a little bit by this undead girl? Isn't this like your thing? Don't you deal with this stuff?
She's not trying to kill us.
Now? She might kill us later. I mean, don't you suspect anything? I think she's creepy as hell.
She thinks you're creepy as hell.
Does she? I don't hear anything to that extent.
Raazu grins, steps back out of the room.
Adrex closes the door.
While Raazu was away, Birdie wrote, "Can you read?" in Draconic, and then showed it to the little girl.
In Draconic?
Yeah.
And she tells you that her grandfather taught her letters.
Okay.
She has,
I
no,
just wanted
she has
to-
no difficulty reading Draconic script.
Okay. Like, are you? I asked her if she's a dragon.
She tells you her grandfather bid her not say, and she again casts her gaze down at the floor, breaks eye contact.
Birdie asks her. He goes. Oh, cool. What color is your grandfather?
So you're writing this? Ah, cool.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Well, I mean, I've got to express myself somehow.
Are you writing little emojis?
Yes. Little kobold faces.
Does Birdie dot his eyes with hearts?
Yes.
No. He
Yes.
dots them. He dots them with bear traps.
That's how you write Kobold.
And again, she tells you that he bid her not say.
All right. Well, I can't read any of this, and you're not answering any of these questions. So let's stop harassing you, and let's go up this tower. Here,
We
come
won't
on.
tell if you won't.
So you're gonna leave her here in the cupboard?
No, I'll pull my hand out. I don't know if she can grab it, but
When Wendy holds her, I guess, talon
yeah.
out. Who else is still in the room? Raazu and Birdie?
Yeah.
She looks back and forth between the two of you, and then back to Wendy's hand. And then she reaches up with her hand, very unsteadily, and takes hold of it.
Don't worry. Wendy's a pretty good guardian, I'd say.
All right, let's get going.
Yep.
Come over. Adrex, we're leaving.
Adrex opens the door. All right.
What's your name?
Adrex.
It's literally thinking
Her name is Lilana.
Lilana?
Lilana.
Well, I'm
That's a
Raazu.
nice name.
Whoa. We're taking her with us?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
What does your
Adrex.
name mean, Lilana? My name is the pattern which is formed as the wind blows over the sand.
She's named after some ancient draconic myth, most likely.
Well, I think you're giving the game away, Lilana, but let's go. All right.
This is Birdie and Red and Adrex.
She does seem to be comforted by the fact there are indeed 5 of you.
Does your grandfather know a lot of things before they happen?
She gives a very non-committal sort of nod. She doesn't know that you can't see this nod.
That's fine.
The others who are with you, after Wendy asks this question, you see her just hold her mouth closed tightly. Since she's just been admonished for giving too much of the game away.
Mm-hmm.
Raazu glances up the stairs and then thanks, one of these alcoves is up there where Birdie took a look at the door previously. So chances are there's something mean and nasty underneath in that alcove. So,
Well, Raazu has been
Maybe a lot.
inside of this room here.
yes,
Well, the ethereal, in her ethereal form at least. That's the librarian's
Yeah.
chamber.
but I'm more worried about the alcove.
Okay. As you climb these stairs, these stairs behind you, as I described in the prime material, are made out of a wire mesh. The mesh is not so loose that you can get like your toes or fingers or something snagged in it, but you can feel it bending and moving under the weight of your boots. Or no, you can't. Your stairs are stone. But you can see that the mesh would be malleable. In the other plane, where it was an empty cavity, these stairs up to the 6th floor and this entire cavity behind it have this kind of cage, are built out of this cage material. In the prime material where this was empty, looking in here now, you see squeezed in and over each other disgustingly, and just this fleshy mound, like when you open a can of Vienna sausages.
Gross.
Maybe a dozen or so of these little potato monsters that you fought, just kind of squeezed in, packed into this cage, so tightly in places that part of their flesh is bulging and protruding out of the stairs or out of the backside of the cage behind you.
Torchlight is 20-foot bright light, 20-foot dim light. After 40-foot dim light, right?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Okay, so 10, 20, and then I should at least be able to get some kind of illumination around the corner over there to this alcove.
Okay. Roll initiative.
Yep. And there's that good old Raazu initiative. Oh my god, what happened to the initiative track?
What do you mean, what happened to it?
It looks the same to me.
Yeah, it looks like an initiative
We
track.
look ginormous.
No, we don't.
Looks like it always looks.
Mm. All right.
I think some people's stuff is all broke.
It's possible.
Oopsie whoopsie. Looks like things got a little fucky wucky. Whatever, reconnect.
There we go. Now everything looks great.
You sound so enthused.
Raazu,
Hey,
shining light into the alcove, shirking away from the light, you see another one of the creatures with the 6 sickle-like arms, kind of shirking away from the brightness of your torch. His body's not there until your light washes over him. And you hear it moan out in its raspy voice. Lost.
Raazu nods. Saw that one coming.
So, where's Birdie at? I don't see him up here. What's Birdie doing way down here?
I rolled a 3.
Oh my goodness, Wendy.
Correct this oversight, Wendy.
All right.
So are you coming up the back with the little girl?
Yeah.
I'll stay
And-
with the little girl.
All right. And I'll hand her over. I'll say, I'll come back after I deal with whatever problem Razi's just bumped into. Oh, booking my way up the stairs,
Okay.
running up the side of the wall so that I can go over Red's head.
Fair enough.
All right.
Yeah, you can see
where are we?
The creature's in the alcove over here.
Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can get to right here. And I'm going to whip him with my whip.
Okay.
I'll use my bonus action to give it a bonus. Then I'll let loose with a couple whip cracks. That is a good thing that I used my bonus action. Does a 15 hit?
15 does hit.
Alright. That's 2 hits then. 4. Uh, 23. Magical slashing.
Okay. As you lash out with your whip, moving or staying put?
I'll stay put.
Okay.
Because I have no more movement.
It's going to bring us to Birdie.
I'm just going to stay here and hold an action to defend the little girl. That's it.
What action are you holding?
Just my a bow. I'll just shoot whatever comes up on me. Something comes up with hostile intent.
Are you watching these stairs or these stairs? Or this alcove or this well?
You know what? I'm going to lead the child into this room here
Okay.
and watch. And then
So now all you have to watch is this door.
right, and then I'll close the door and I'll watch the door. And if something comes through the door, I'll attack it
Okay.
with my
I'm just picturing that in character as Birdie's eyes darting around the entire room and then going, oh, screw this.
Something that isn't your friends, right? Not just something.
Okay, I gotta roll some dice now.
Oh, I love dice.
I don't.
Dice are overrated.
Okay. Red.
Mm-hmm.
One of these to the mod potato monsters on their strange 2 legs that's pressed into this cage kind of above and behind you
Yeah.
somehow squeezes its way through the mesh and lands on this space here. And you hear sounds on the other side of the room. Wendy, you hear them most clearly down in this direction somewhere.
Alright.
That sounds like scrabbling on the ground. What's their movement? They got a lot of movement, actually. Oh, this one can get all the way to Wendy. Nice.
Oh, I don't love that.
Yeah, are you... You got martial awareness. Doesn't matter if you're billowing.
Yes.
Oh, he rolls a disadvantage anyway. Never mind.
Nice.
Yeah, they have the opposite of pack tactics. Wendy, I have a 8 to hit.
Nah.
Red, I have a 8 to hit.
No.
As these things press their way through the mesh, this one falls basically right on top of Red and starts snapping at him. This one came scrabbling around the corner. And now it is Adrex's turn.
All right. Adrex shouts at Birdie, "If creepy ghost girl murders you, that's on you." And starts going up the stairs. Still not fully cognizant of his wings, being along the walls, and he realizes that, hey, I've got nerves in them now, so it kind of hurts when he does that. So he's kind of like spiraling a little bit, twisting and turning, trying to make his way up the stairs. And comes up on this little dude here.
Mm-hmm.
And let's stab him with the Famor, because why not? I theoretically can attack, right?
Theoretically.
Yeah. That is a 16 to hit.
Will hit.
Yay! All right.
My side tone is gone. I hate this.
For that is 12 fire and 8 piercing.
And it is very dead.
All right.
As this thing's falling on the ground, like scrabbling to get its footing so it can get a bite out of Red, you just come up behind him and stab him in the potato.
Well, That's Adrex's turn.
Okay,
He's using that potato.
it's gonna bring
Right
us
in the eye.
to red.
Let's go ahead and move to here. And I think after that, we're going to ready an action to shoot this guy whenever one of my comrades is adjacent to it.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, man.
And bonus action, I'll give Raazu advantage on our next attack against it.
And it's Razu's turn next.
Against Hugman, the Lost.
Hugman.
Yep.
The worst.
Yep.
Mega
You
Man boss
are
ever.
now anti-hug.
That sounds like Raazu.
Yeah, time to give him some anti-hugs.
Okay. Adrex, Razu leaves you in the dark.
I got my Fame more. I'm good.
Oh, that's right.
Ready to action will hit an armor class of
Armor class of what?
20.
20 will hit.
Back here.
And how much was that?
Hold on. Sorry, my sneak attack went up. Uh, 30 damage.
Okay.
Magical with the orc bowstring.
And the thing is bloodied. And Raazu, now you may go ahead and beat up my man.
Let's see, I'm just making sure that I am doing the correct number of d8s for thunder damage here. 2d8 extra damage, plus 1 for each. I don't think this is an undead or a fiend, so I'm just going to go with the 3d8 here. Level 1 spell slot. That's going to be... Ugh.
It's an emotion.
I do kind of think these things should be fiends, but they're not classified as fiends.
Okay.
They have all the hallmarks of fiends, but...
That's going to be 6 cold damage, 12 thunder damage. Because I rolled a 21 to hit, I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah, 21 hits.
And I'm certain that a 10 does not.
10 does not, no.
Yeah. And that's going to end Razu's turn.
Okay. It's going to bring us to Birdie. Not Birdie, Windy.
All right.
I knew it was the end of the round, and I just instinctively said Birdie.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I normally would as well. I'm gonna let loose with let's start with a couple whip cracks
Against...
against the Lost here.
Okay.
I would love to take him out before he hugs Raazu to death. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
before he hugs Raazu and then I kill Raazu to death.
Yeah.
That's a 24 to hit.
That'll hit.
4. I don't know why I took out another d8. 21, magical slashing.
And it's dead. Just like the previous ones, its form kind of falls to the ground and then slumps away into this pile of ash, which dissipates into this thin vapor over the course of a few seconds.
Alright, and then I'll just spin around and martial arts kick this potato moy in the face.
It doesn't
This
really have a
Sputnik.
face, so to speak.
Kick him right in the potato. That's a 13 to hit.
13 will not hit.
Alright.
Get it right between the eyes.
It's got eyes like a deer. There's like one on either side of its head. And then in between, it's just all teeth.
Yeah, that sucks.
It's going to bring us to Birdie.
Still holding an action to watch the little girl.
Okay. Got to roll some dice here. Okay. And they could make this all the way around. No problem. 2 more of the creatures wriggle their way out of the cage and begin to surround Raazu. And all 3 of them have advantage against you.
Raazu
So-
loves it.
the cage actually extends all the way around like this?
The cage starts here.
Uh-huh.
As you guys are coming up the stairs, it forms the ceiling and the wall behind you in this stairwell. When you come around the corner and start up these stairs are also made out of cage. Like the whole cavity in that space is caged in. Raazu,
Hey.
I have a 14.
Mm-mm.
I have a 5.
No.
And I have a big bad natural 20.
Okay, I'll let that happen.
You'll let that happen. Listen to you. Not max damage, unfortunately. 16 points of piercing damage.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing attaches to you as it sinks its teeth down into your arm. The other two
That's not
potato
pleasant.
boys are scrabbling around at the ground near to your feet.
All three of them came at me?
All 3 of them attempted to attack you, yes.
Yeah, okay. That's completely stupid.
This one wasn't able to attack Windy because he doesn't have another ally within 5 feet of Windy.
Fair.
So you're not grappled by the thing, but it's just attached to you by the teeth. It's going to bring us to Adrex.
They fear my kung fu.
Let's see. 1, 2,
I see.
3,
I'm
4.
Adrex.
5, 6. Hurl an axe.
Hurl an axe. Okay.
Alright, hand axe.
No,
No,
hand
hand
axe
axe
is dead.
And X couldn't do that. That is a 25 to hit.
25 does hit.
25 does hit for 11 damage.
11 damage, and this one screams out as it dies, and then evaporates.
Both Brickroot and McDohl went for that spike after that Nodal's layup there.
Second axe
Okay.
is a 19 to hit.
There is a door here, by the way, set into the curvature of the wall. Sorry, you said a 19 to hit?
Yep.
That'll hit.
For another 11 damage.
And that one is also dead.
I'm gonna make that a little more visible.
Yeah, I just looked at the map and I realized it wasn't very visible.
Yeah.
And I got a javelin, so let's pierce this bad boy with my third attack.
Okay, I'm going to give him partial cover because you've got the hallways blocked off by your allies here.
Alright, that is a 24 to hit.
That'll still hit even with the partial cover. No problem.
Fuck your partial cover.
For
Because Wendy's feathers are gone.
10 damage.
For 10 damage, and this one also dies.
Yeah.
And you bark at
Adrex
it
starts-
for some reason.
Adrex starts barking like a dog.
And Razi, you feel the teeth go slack out of your arm. The thing hits the floor and evaporates. And then after a moment, the activity inside of the cage simmers down and the hall becomes quiet again.
Alright, I'm gonna go back downstairs.
Alright, Adrex collects his weaponry.
Birdie,
I'll knock on the door.
you hear your companions go upstairs, and you hear the sounds of faraway combat, and then Adrex just starts barking very loudly.
I'm confused by this revelation and unsure what it means. Because on the one hand, it could mean that they've won. On the other hand, it could just mean that Adrex is bored. So
Birdie, those were victory barks.
okay.
See, we're supposed to be picturing Adrex as Andy from Parks and Rec, but now I'm picturing him as Mr. Peanut Butter from BoJack.
I feel like Andy from Parks and Rec would just start barking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
No,
that's
totally.
true.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But Mr. Peanut Butter's an actual dog.
That's why Andy does it better.
Okay, so I'll grab the little girl's hand and then open the door and lead her upstairs.
Okay. She follows close behind you as Adrex is up here still barking.
Ah,
I took you. You're mine now.
Okay, so let's see. Maybe this door merits a second look. Now that we're on this side, what say you, Birdie?
oh yeah, sure.
I'll
Boy,
hold
they
on to
can't speak.
Lalana while you do horrible Kobold things to that door.
Is the door identical to the way it was before?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm making a little girl token that we can pass around.
That
Don't
Can
worry
we-
about it. Don't worry about it.
phrasing. Okay, so
Raazu, you know this door to lead into the librarian's room.
Yeah. And Raazu will say as much. This is where they took me once that previous fight had concluded.
okay, so I'll knock on the door politely.
And after a moment, the door opens, and the librarian stands there, this hooded figure that you've become somewhat familiar with during your adventures in the tower. And he asks, "Are our transactions not concluded?"
Birdie points at his throat and makes like an X and like a speaking gesture, like he mimes a hand and then he does an X with his hands to show that he can't speak.
And the librarian says, "It matters not. I can hear you quite well."
Really? Huh.
And then he asks again, "Are our transactions not concluded?"
No, I think we're good. Thank you. And Birdie is very gonna quickly leave because he creeps me out.
And as Birdie steps away from the door, it closes, even though the librarian is not reaching out to touch it.
That guy's creepy, don't you think, Lalana?
She says that she thinks he's one of them. And the way she says them, you realize she's talking about the Sorrow Sworn in the tower.
It's like I want a ruling on something before we go. Like, so Wendy is a plucked chicken basically at this time. Does that make
Right,
her
yeah.
less or more horrifying to look at for?
Oh, definitely more horrifying.
Okay, all right.
Without question.
Does Wendy wear clothes now? Did she wear clothes before?
Wendy wore clothes before, so
Okay.
don't worry about it.
Okay.
Did you lose your clothes when you burnt up?
Oh, probably, but I've got a spare.
Okay.
I spare clothes.
A spare clothes. The problem is, I'm assuming Wendy probably only has the one spare, so you're
Yeah.
gonna be having some stinky clothes.
The way I was
Yeah,
picturing
well-
it is that Wendy, I know Wendy typically wears, she wears some kind of shoes, and she wears standard like traveling clothes, and then her cloak over top of that, but nothing covering her wings, and it's the feathers on her wings that are damaged by the fire. Any feathers on her like torso and legs were protected by her clothing. But yeah,
So it's less horrible than I was picturing.
Have you
her clothes are
considered
very badly scorched.
wing clothing for future fire-related?
I feel like that would get into flying issues at that point.
Wendy, you realize like 50 reasons why wing clothing wouldn't work, but you just don't feel like explaining it to Red.
Yeah.
For what it's
Like a
worth,
leather
Adrex thinks
sheath.
it's a great idea.
So what's next?
Adrex is over there. Have you considered having scales instead?
I guess we're gonna continue up the stairs then.
Oops, sorry.
Ah, you stole me.
Okay. And heading up the stairs, and they remain this wire cage, so you're kind of walking up on top of the horrible wretched inside.
They getting aggressive when I start going up the stairs?
No, they don't. I mean, there's some squirming going on, but they don't seem to give you any notice other than that. Coming up into this room here, the entire center of the chamber is filled with earth and soil. And here and there, small broken pieces of stone or brick. This room is a high dome, and this earth is packed in the center of the room. Makes this big pile all the way up to where it meets the ceiling of the chamber. Raazu, you're carrying a torch, and you've got dark vision at 60 feet, right?
Yeah.
What's your passive perception?
Passive perception is 11.
Okay. Birdie, what's your passive perception? You're right behind Raazu.
Birdie's muted.
21.
Yeah, 21. As Raazu steps up into the room, something at the very top of this mound of earth, this good maybe 20 or 30 feet up off the ground, at the top of where it meets the ceiling of this dome, catches the light off of Raazu's torch as she enters. And you see it glint for a moment, like 1,000 sparkly bits at the top of the earth. It's difficult to say what they are from way down here, but you can see them changing as Raazu moves up with her torch. She has not noticed them.
I slap the back of her thigh area and then point up.
Raazu looks up.
Okay, and looking up, this would be in the dim light of your torch. So yeah, you'll also see the sparkly bits at the top of this pile of earth.
Are they moving around or are they stationary?
What are you doing with your torch?
I'll wave it back and forth slowly.
As you wave it back and forth slowly, they do appear to be moving, but you can't tell if it's just the light playing off of the material, whatever it is, or if the things themselves are actually moving.
And then I'll hold the torch still.
Okay, and it's still difficult to say. You could go either way on this.
Okay.
What is it?
Some kind of sparkly thing up there. A lot of little points of light. Hard to tell if they're moving or if it's just the light playing tricks.
Adrex, we need someone who can fly.
Oh. Alright.
So you can fly to the
Adrex
top
on
of this
back
mound.
and says,
It would also be trivially easy just to climb to the top. It's just loose soil and earth.
Raazu pats
I
Adrex
was trying to
back.
give Adrex
I'm
something.
fine.
Adrex, what do you do?
Want to take the light with you?
I got my fame more.
Okay.
Famous last words. It's a fame more devourer. Alright. Adrex inhales. Deep inhale. And starts flapping his way to the top.
Okay. And do you land on the mound when you get up there, or are you just flying circles around the top of it?
Flying circles around the top of it at first. See if you can't get a better look at it.
Getting that close, looking at the little glints, you see thousands of shards of broken glass. And you see where the earth is piled up to the high dome of the ceiling. Looking at the dome itself, you realize the very top of this dome is itself wreathed in this like metal lattice work with broken glass inside of it. That this earth must have been sitting on top of this glass structure and broke through it, causing it to pour down into this room.
Lots of glass up here. It would hurt if I landed on it. Glad I didn't. Looks like the earth broke through whatever it was up there. I'm gonna come down now.
And after a few
Seems-
circles around the thing, Adrex comes back down to the ground.
Seems tightly packed for just earth dropping through the ceiling.
It doesn't look tightly packed. It looks loosely packed. Like it's fallen down into this room. It's partially settled, so this didn't happen just earlier today. But no, it's soil.
It isn't as uniform as this map suggests it is.
No. This
Okay.
is basically an outline of what the metal lattice work would have looked like with the glass panes set in the ceiling.
Okay. Okay. All right then.
This is about
Is
how
there a
much
gap?
physical space it takes up.
Yeah, is there any gap up above?
Not that you can see. In fact, until Adrex came down, you thought there was just a big pile of dirt in the room. He had to actually go up and inspect it to see that this earth poured in. So you can imagine tons and tons of earth still on top of you.
All right. So I guess that's not the way. We might have to go back down and around.
Just get a shovel.
Birdie, Birdie and Red. Before you guys joined me here in this realm, I did see that the passageway down to the guest quarters, I guess, or not the guest quarters, the personal cells downstairs. Like there was a locked grating in front of the thing. That might be another avenue to go check.
Yeah, right.
We also
here.
have to keep in mind that we're looking for what might be a very literal way back to the light. And this, before it got destroyed, and Wendy'll just kind of like make a motion, this would have kind of fit the bill.
Yeah, but I have no idea how much dirt is up above that, and I'm not keen to find out. Like, we do have our tunneler, but, you know, he can only work with so much.
Lilana, where did you enter the tower from?
She looks at the dirt, and she says that she remembers the skylight, but she was looking down on it from above.
Okay. Well, let's at least examine the rest of the tower, like Raazu says. And then we can make any judgments we need to at the time. We might as well know what we're dealing with.
Did you have your conversation with that entity in this room? Was that on the Prime side, or was that on this side?
That was on the Prime.
Okay.
So, just to clarify here, the dirt goes all the way up and into the metal latticework?
And beyond it. You can imagine tons and tons of dirt sitting on top of this glass dome, and then the glass breaking and the dirt pouring into it.
Okay.
That's what's happened here.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like not really. I don't think that the answer is to have our kobold work himself to death trying to dig up through it.
Who are you and what have you done to Raazu?
No, that makes sense. If she works you to death, you can't do any more work.
Yeah. I'm nothing if not pragmatic. Razi starts walking back downstairs.
Okay.
Yeah, let's see what the rest of the tower has to offer us before we start trying to escape.
Birdie's stomping on these little things as he walks by, trying to step on their little horse faces.
I'm
Potato
waiting for
face.
him to say roll initiative.
Well, not yet.
Okay, now we're gonna go down.
Aren't we a
here.
big bad kobold?
Well, I'm not very good at seeing, so if you see something you want me to not step towards, let me know.
And
Listen.
she squeezes your talon when you say that.
There's not many things in this world that are smaller than me. I have to get my
I'll
jolly
let-
somehow.
I'll let one of the thiefy types go on ahead of me.
And yeah, there
Downstairs.
is, as Raazu described, this kind of metal grate. This kind of flimsy-looking metal gate with a lock placed at the bottom of the stairs out into the small student cells.
Ajax is just like hopping all over people.
His wings, man. He's trying his best.
Adrex is here too.
Alright, fellas. Do your thing.
Yeah, you can either pick this lock or you can probably break this gate with enough force.
I say we pick it.
I didn't want to go through by myself because I was by myself.
I'm not stopping you, Birdie.
Fine. Birdie makes like a motion, for traps.
Sure. Check for traps.